everyone, thanks for joining me here today. Cakes, Cooking, and More. I'm Marie Lockwood. Today's recipe is stuffed shells. It's got a very Italian bit to it. We have a little bit of sausage, some vegetables, lots of cheese, and they're all stuffed into these nice little shells here. You can see the cheese is all melted, everything's nice and yummy. So let's see what we need. Okay, so for this recipe we need quite a few things. We have some mozzarella, cottage cheese, ricotta, some sausage, Rotel, parmesan, some chopped mushrooms, some chopped black olive, parsley, black pepper, salt, onion powder, vegetable oil. You need some jumbo shells. You'll need a big pot of water to boil the shells, and some vodka sauce, a little bit of vegetable oil spray, and then of course a pan to cook the sausage. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our sausage cooked, and we're going to get our shells boiled. So we'll start the sausage now. And this, you want to make sure you've got it cooked completely. You want to make sure it's all chopped up as small as you can get it for this recipe. So as soon as this is cooked, we'll be back. Okay, now that our sausage is completely cooked all the way through and it's chopped as small as I can get it, we are going to drain this, and then we're going to set it aside because we need it completely cool before we put it into the mixture, because all of the cheeses will melt if we don't. Okay, so as soon as I've got this drained and cooling off, we'll get started on the noodles. Okay, now that our sausage is done and it's draining behind me, we're going to take a large pot of boiling water. It's not quite boiling yet. And we're going to take our giant box of jumbo shells. You can see they're quite big. And we're going to cook all of these per the directions on the box, and then we're going to drain those off. And then when they're drained, we will be back. Now that our shells are completely boiled, you can see they're still steaming. We have rinsed them lightly, and I did cook them with olive oil instead of salt. It's a little healthier, and so I usually do that. If they ask me to boil it with salt, I just substitute with olive oil. Okay, so now that they're done and they've been rinsed and drained, we're going to take just a little bit of olive oil. We're just going to drizzle that on top. And all this is going to do is keep them from sticking together, because we're going to have to pull them apart and stuff them in a few minutes. So you just want to give them a light toss in that olive oil, and it just keeps them, like I said, from sticking together. Alright, now we're going to set these aside, and we're going to let those cool while we start on our cheese mixture. So okay, so for this part, we're going to take our mozzarella. We're going to add our little bit of black pepper. Just going to sprinkle it around. Our little bit of onion powder. And our parsley. A little bit of salt. And we have our parmesan. And all of the amounts will be in the description box, so that you guys can make this yourself. Now I know this looks like a ton, but I always make this close to a weekend because we love game day snacks here. We watch most games. It doesn't matter what season or what kind of game. We watch a lot of games. So we like to have a lot of game day snacks. So what we're going to do is use half of it for our dinner tonight, and the rest will be for our game day snacks, and that will be on the next episode. So if you're making this, make sure that you save about half your ingredients so that you can make those too. Alright, now we're going to take our cottage cheese. We just really wanted to give those a light stir before, just to get, you know, all of the ingredients kind of blended throughout the mozzarella. Now we're going to take our ricotta. We're also going to take our black olive. And these have been chopped up really tiny. And you want to do that because you don't want any big chunks of anything in here. Then we're going to take our mushroom. And make sure on your mushroom, your black olive, your Rotel, you drain those really well. You don't want all that water in there because it'll take so much longer to cook if you're having to cook out all of that liquid. Alright, then we have our Rotel. Alright, and our last ingredient is the sausage that we cooked earlier. Because it has now cooled down completely, so we're all good. Now this sausage is just a regular breakfast sausage. If you prefer, you can use Italian sausage. It does give it a little bit more of a different flavor. And it's actually quite good. The kids can't eat it though. You know how kids are when they're little, they just can't handle anything with a lot of spice. And that one just has a little too much. So I just use the breakfast sausage. Alright, now we're going to just mix this until we have a nice good mix. Okay, now that we have this all well blended, you can see it's not super wet, and that's what we want. We want the cheese to melt and do the work for us. Okay, so you're going to need a large pan. Mine's a 9 by 13. And you can decide how much you want to make depending on how many people, are going to be there for dinner. But you're just going to want to lightly spray that with the vegetable oil just to get a coating so that your noodles don't stick when you cook them. Alright, so now you're going to take just a regular spoon and you're going to take your shells. You're going to take one shell at a time and just kind of open it up and then just stuff it full. And you can make them as full as you want or as little as you want. So I do about that, where the gap is a little bit, but not huge. And then I just put them in there. Okay, so you're going to keep doing this until you are out of shells, and then we'll be back. Alright, now that we are almost done stuffing these, you're going to see that we've got about half of our mixture left, and that's what we want, because like I said, I'm going to save those and do those on tomorrow's episode for game day snacks. So, we're just going to finish these up. And you want to pack them in pretty good, because if you don't, they will fall over, everything will pour out, and you'll have an empty shell with a mess in the bottom of your pan. So make sure you've got them kind of squished in there and that they're kind of holding each other up. Like I said, I stuffed mine really well because I like the cheese, but it's completely up to you how much you want to put in. At the end of this, it looks like we're going to have a couple of extra shells. So you can grab another pan, a smaller one, and do another pan of them if you think that your family will eat them. And once these are cooked, you can freeze them and eat them later, so you don't have to eat them all at one time either. So I've done that before. Usually though, there's not a whole lot left. Alright, now that my rows are all done, what I'm doing is just shoving them into the side so that they keep them from falling over. Like I said, you want them well packed in there. Keep each other standing. Alright, now that you can see that they're all squished in there pretty good, nothing's really about to fall over. Now your extra ones, like I said, you can do another pan. I only have about 5, so it's not really enough for another pan. But you can, if you like a little bit of extra noodle, you can cut these into pieces and put them on top. Or you can just, throw them away, whichever one is your choice. I do this because I don't know what it is, but I just cannot throw away food if it hasn't gone bad. It just seems wrong. Alright, so after we get this done, we're going to all take a break and wash our hands. We also want to wrap up the rest of our mixture with saran wrap on top. And we're just going to put that in the refrigerator, and it will hold perfectly well for about 24 to 48 hours. 48 hours is kind of pushing it. So, like I said, I usually do it the day before I'm going to do game day snacks so that I can use the rest of it for that. Or if, you know, there's no game coming, then I will use it and I will make just huge amounts of this and then freeze it all. And then anytime that, you know, the kids want pasta, then I can just unfreeze it. And that's the way I do it. Okay, so we'll be back in just a moment. Now that we have our cheese put up and our noodles are all ready and stuffed, we're going to take our vodka sauce. Now you can use marinara, and like I've said before, I use the vodka sauce because it's a little bit lighter taste and the kids seem to like it a little better. Alright, so we're just going to take our vodka sauce and we're going to pour that over top. We want to make sure that every noodle gets a little bit of sauce on it. It doesn't have to be super heavy if you're one of those people that don't like the sauce as much. I just try to make sure that they're all well covered. Anything not covered can tend to burn a little on the edges, and so I just try to keep that from happening. And just take a spatula and kind of, you know, smooth everything over everything. Try to make sure I've got no bare spots. Alright, now we're going to put this in the oven at 400 for about 25 to 30 minutes. Everything inside is cooked, so really all we're looking for is that cheese to be nice and melted. And when you look into the oven, you'll see they're kind of bubbly in the middle. And you'll see a nice browning to them, and that's what you're looking for. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so now that our stuffed shells are out, and I know you probably cannot see from over there, so I'm going to bring it closer so that you can see what I'm talking about. So if you look, you can see that it's bubbling at the edges, and that's what we're looking for. Just a nice bubbly edge, which tells us that all of our cheese is melted, everything's cooked really good. Then you just want to loosen at the sides. And scoop out a couple of shells there. And you can see inside is nice stuffed, the cheese is all melted and gooey, and they're just so yummy that I kind of want to eat them now, but this is so hot that I'm not going to be able to. But you can see everything's nice and melted inside. So that is the end of our show today. Thanks for joining me here at Cakes, Cooking and More. I'm Marie Lockwood. I hope you have a great day.